Today we're going to look at some Japanese deck lists from Pokekabook.com. These are using new cards from the Clayburst set and what's this one called? There's Clayburst and Snow Hazard. So yeah, Clayburst and Snow Hazard cards like this Squawkabilly EX are featured in some of these decks. So yeah, we're just going to do a dive through this Pokekabook archives. It says these decks are from top 8s of city leagues and decks that won gym battles. But I did peruse this a bit, and I already saw that like some of these are like top 16s and top 32. So a lot of them aren't high placing decks, but they are cool new decks to look at. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, a lot of these deck lists are lower resolution. Like if we zoom in on this at all, it gets really blurry. But I guess we could go zooming in this much. Um, so this is a Regidrago V-Star deck. Regidrago V-Star's attack for Grass Fire can copy any dragon type attacks from Pokemon in your discard pile. And the two new cards in here that we want to talk about are the Noivern EX and the Squawkabilly EX. So I already have Squawkabilly up. This has the ability Show Off Take. You may use this ability once during your turn, and only if it is your first turn. Discard your hand and draw 6 cards. You can't use more than one of these during your turn. And then it does have the Focus Energy attack. It does 20 for 1 and attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So honestly, a pretty good attack, even if you have to start with this weaker EX Pokemon that has 160 HP. You can still get something out of its attack if it's stuck in the active position. But really, the ability Show Off Take is what we're looking at here. It's kind of like the Dede change. Discard your hand, draw 6. But you don't have to use it as soon as Squawkabilly is put down. You do have to use it on your first turn, however. And then the other new card here is the Noivern EX. This is a pretty exciting card, I think. So Stage 1 EX Pokemon. It has Sonic Flight for colorless. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. And then Dominate Echo 140. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any special energy or stadium cards. This is really in line with most Noivern cards we've seen that are popular. Noivern GX had very similar attacks that prevent your opponent from doing things. So in this Regidrago V-Star Dragon Box deck, you can use Giratina V-Star's attacks, Goodra V-Star, Noivern EX, and Duraludon VMAX. Really cool deck, especially with the new Noivern, because I think that's something that was missing. So now you have the big damage attack with Giratina. You have the damage reduction attack with Goodra. You have the blocking basic Pokemon from attacking and blocking special energy in stadiums with Noivern. And then you have Duraludon VMAX for a shred attack that can just go through anything. So this is actually building up to be a pretty cool archetype now. Next, we've got a Chien-Pao deck with the new Baxcalibur as well. So why don't we check out Chien-Pao real quick? I actually spent a couple minutes before this video remembering all of the ruined Pokemon's names because I never remember them. Okay, so Chien-Pao EX has the ability Trembling Cold. You may use this ability once during your turn if this Pokemon's in the active spot. Search your deck for up to 2 basic water energies and put them into your hand. And then its attack Hail Blade does 60 damage times the amount of water energy you discard from all of your Pokemon in this way. Discard any number of water energy attached to your Pokemon, 60x. So it can do a good amount of damage. And then, of course, this deck is also playing the new Baxcalibur, which is right here. It has the ability Absolute Zero. You may use this ability as often as you like during your turn. Attach a basic water energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So it's like a rain dance kind of effect. Basic waters from your hand to any Pokemon, water or not, active or bench, it doesn't matter. So that's going to be a pretty popular pairing, Chien-Pao and Baxcalibur. Rare candies to get those Baxcalibur downs because they are Stage 2 Pokemon. Then playing a 1/1 Palkia V-Star in there, so you have a little extra burst potential with the V-Star power. Also a lone Vulpix V-Star in there, so you have a little bit of tech in the deck. Pretty cool. There's a Hisuian Zoroark V-Star deck here. Nothing really changing the functionality of it. I mean, we do have the Squawkabilly EX, which could be, a consistency booster for any deck. Maybe Zoroark needs it a little more than other decks. And then it also has Iono in there. Of course, pretty much every deck is going to want to take advantage of Iono. So just a couple generic upgrades for Hisui and Zoroark VSTAR. Hisui and Gudra VSTAR Lost Zone, still a strong archetype. Um, the only new card here is Jet Energy. So we'll go ahead and just look up Jet Energy real quick in case anybody doesn't know how it functions. But it is a special energy that provides a colorless, and when you attach it to one of your benched Pokemon, you switch it into the active position. So this has been a popular card for Lost Zone decks to be playing in Japan with the newer cards. Next, we have a Wo-Chien Forretress deck. I think Forretress EX is actually really, really awesome, and you'll see that they're using all hand disruption cards because Forretress knocks itself out. So let's look at these cards. So Forretress EX, one, I think it looks awesome. Two, it has two good attributes. So explosive energy, you may use this ability during your turn, knock out Forretress EX. Search your deck for up to five basic grass energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, and then shuffle your deck. And then it also has Guard Press. Guard Press does 120, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. I really like that because you're going to hit for some damage, take 30 less damage. So if they don't one-shot you, let's say they do 260 damage to Forretress, they miss it by 10 damage, you could just pop the ability and knock out your damaged Forretress, let your opponent have their two prizes, but you get an additional effect. You get those five basic grass energies onto your board. And then Wo-Chien, of course, benefits from having a lot of grass energies. It has Forest Burn that does 220 for 4 grass, but it also has Ravenous Vine that does 60 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken to one of their benched Pokemon. So as long as they don't have Manaphy down, this is going to be a really good attacker. Um, let's see, do they have anything to deal with Manaphy in this deck? No gusting effects, so that's something I don't like, is that this deck should definitely have a way to deal with Manaphy. Actually, Trevenant V, what does Trevenant V do? Let's see if Trevenant V is the answer. Deal 30 damage, discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Why is Trevenant V in this deck? Okay, I don't know why Trevenant V is in the deck. But they should really have a way to deal with Manaphy's so that you can do your bench damage with Wo-Chien. So yeah, interesting concepts, but I don't like how it was executed. Here we've got a crazy looking control style Lost Zone deck. So they're using the new Noivern EX in here. Very, very cool. The Luminous Energy, that's like multi-energy. If you remember that one, it only works as a rainbow on Pokemon with zero other special energies attached. So it says if this Pokemon has a special energy attached other than Luminous Energy only provides a colorless energy. But otherwise, it provides a rainbow energy. But you have the Noivern EX that can't be hit by basics after the first attack and blocks special energies with the other attack. And then you have Shadow Calyrex V with the Shadow Mist that blocks special energies and Stadium cards. Really, really cool and innovative style of Lost Zone deck. Speaking of cool, we have the new Ting-Lu EX, I believe it's called. Let's see if I got that right. I did. Let's go. It has the ability Land of Radiation. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, your opponent's Pokemon that have damage counters on them, except Pokemon EX, have no abilities. Now, I think this card is terribly underpowered. I talked about this in a recent video on my main channel where I did a set review for Snow, Clay, Burst Hazard, whatever. That Ting-Lu has to be in the active. Your opponent's Pokemon have to have damage counters on them, and it doesn't affect EX Pokemon. So, like, I'm not a big fan of that, but let's see what they're putting into this deck. Also, Landscaping does 150 plus put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So they have Radiant Alakazam to move damage counters around. That makes sense. They have 2 Hawluchas to place damage counters. That makes sense. So it can shut down, like, Baxcalibur, that's a non-EX Pokemon that's important. It can shut down Comfies. Those are non-EX Pokemon that are important. Radiant Greninja, that's a non-EX Pokemon that's important with an ability. So it can shut off Radiant Pokemon, it can shut off Comfy, it can shut off Baxcalibur. It doesn't have to be basic, right? Yeah, it doesn't have to be basic. So it does cover some good ground with what it shuts down. I just feel like maybe they should have let it shut off everything. But this is a really cool looking deck, and maybe this is the way the Koraidon EX can become a solid meta card. Featuring 0 new cards, but this is one that I thought people would like to see, is a Leafeon Spidops EX deck that won a gym battle. Now, I believe gym battles are the smaller tournaments for Japan, so something like our league challenge. So it's not the biggest accomplishment, but it's still cool to see players being able to express their creativity and choose the types and the Pokemon and the card types that they want and be able to see some level of success with them. Like, we're seeing V-Stars and V-Maxes and EXs. We're seeing decks without any of the rule box Pokemon. We're seeing old decks perform with new cards added and new decks perform, so it's a very exciting time to be playing the Pokemon trading card game, and looking through all these deck results is just really exciting and really makes me want to play with all these different kinds of decks. Here's another Ting-Lu EX deck. Now this one's really going into the control strategy a little bit more. It's got Temple of Sinnoh to shut down the special energies. It's got Aerodactyl V-Star to shut down V Pokemon abilities or Rulebox Pokemon abilities with its V-Star power attack. It's also got Spirit Tomb, and Spirit Tomb is uh, a really oppressive new card. Basic Pokemon V in play have no abilities. So you've got Spirit Tomb, you've got Aerodactyl V-Star, you've got Ting-Lu shutting down powers, and then you also have the Mawile that can trap something that can't retreat into the active position. This is a really, really cool take on Koraidon EX, Ting-Lu EX. This is one that I can't wait to play. Like I said, I couldn't wait to play the last one, but this one might even be cooler than the other Ting-Lu EX deck that we saw. I thought this one was incredibly cool. It's using the new Tinkaton EX. It does 30 damage for each card in your hand. And of course, the Tinkaton Stage 2 non-EX that we already had that lets you discard a card to draw 3 cards. And it's using the Zoroark line, so you can set up a huge army of Tinkatons. So you can go into Zoroark and then evolve that into either Tinkaton, and then you could rare candy the Tinkatuffs or whatever they're called, the Tinkies. You can rare candy those into more Tinkatons until you just have a board of Tinkatons, and your opponent scoops because your entire board is Tinkatons. But it also has 2 of the Milotic that says your hand cannot be affected by your opponent's supporter cards. So that means Iono and Roxanne and Judge do not affect your hand when this Milotic card is in play. And that's incredible because Tinkaton does more damage based on how many cards are in your hand. So this one was incredibly creative, and I had to show it to you guys. The last deck of the day I wanted to look at is a gym battle winner Regidrago deck with the new Noivern EX, but also with the new Forretress EX. So you can pop that Forretress EX, get a bunch of grass energy down. You can use Iono, and then you can choose from your 4 different dragon type attackers, actually 5 different attacks because the Noivern EX has 2 good attacks to choose from. So you pop that Forretress, attach your grass energies, and start picking out your attacks that you want to use. This one's really cool, and like I said, it did win a gym battle over in Japan. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Japanese deck dive today on Pokekabook.com. So you could check out even more decks over there, or you could just wait till the next time I make a video like this. Please subscribe to the channel and let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video, if you'd like to see more of it. I'll see you next time.